multimedia artist, predominantly working in video and online projects. My current work is mainly in the field of video art, but it also incorporates sourced image and photography as the main two sort of mediums that I use. It explores the associative properties of memory and attempts to create new understandings about how memory is stored, lost, reshaped, and recalled. Importantly, it investigates the systems that allow contemporary images to multiply digitally and utilises the results as material in order to create a symbolic ecology representative of the subconscious. When I'm researching or going through the initial phases of creating a body of work, I tend to start by identifying a process I want to utilise in order to create the work. To date, my work has mainly revolved around the digital, so this process usually involves a particular editing style or a certain software or a means of distributing the work. Lost in Translation, for instance, was a work where I relinquished and circulated authorship of an image until it gradually degraded, mimicking the trajectory of online images. I know of other people who interact with materials in a more intuitive way, but I've come to enjoy the more detached, non-tactile aspect of the process. Once I identify something that interests me, I begin by collating inspiration images and building up a visual database. A lot of my early research has to do with finding things that interest me and placing them together and seeing what it is that links them together. Probably the most frequent problem that arises in my work is developing a concept that allows me to utilise the process that I've chosen. I've never been one to shoehorn an idea that doesn't work or sacrifice the process that I want to utilise for an idea. So if something isn't working, I'll usually take note of that and hope to possibly adapt it in a future work. The university environment has been really important for me. I've found that having the opportunity to collaborate with other people on projects like Scene and refine my practice has been really important. Having that opportunity to interact with people who have a different perspective and having that ability to bounce ideas off one another is really important, as I tend to become really close to my work when I'm in the process of creating it, and it can be difficult sometimes to step away from that. So having that interaction and that feedback is really useful. I'd love to think that a lot of the work that I do is experimental, but I've found recently that I've sort of been fighting against this routine in my production, which is kind of counterintuitive to what I do, which is to sort of throw things together and see what works and the joy that can come from that. In saying that though, there is a structure to the way that I work, but there is room to improvise within that, like I did for Watch Me While I Watch Myself. I think that acceptance of the unplanned has allowed me to create work that otherwise would have been filtered out. I'd say I'm not overly concerned with producing the perfect image, and I think my humorous aesthetic has attributed itself to that sort of mentality. Currently, I don't have a designated place to work or a studio space. My current practice is predominantly digital, so I find myself using my laptop or my phone on the go to research and collect images and edit images and stuff like that. As my practice develops, however, and I move more into installation and more sculptural work, I would like to get a studio space or just a private area that I could work in, because I feel like having that distinction between work and life, or art and life, would be really useful.